National Wrestling Alliance getting ready for their first live edition of NWA Powerrr coming up on January 31st at the Knoxville Convention Center. By the way, NWA TIX for tickets if you plan to be in the Knoxville area. Two folks that will figure prominently on that show join me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. First off, he is a former NWA World Tag Team Champion, 20 plus years in the wrestling business. Thom Latimer, follow him on Twitter at Thomas_Latimer_, and his lovely bride, who is also the current reigning and defending NWA Women's World Champion, Camille. Follow her on Twitter at Camille_Brick. Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to talk to you. I want to find out, because you are a married couple. You're both in the NWA, but you also do independent dates. How much of a challenge is it to be a married couple in the business, balancing your married life with the professional life and all that good stuff? Talk for a second about that, and I'll throw that to either of you.
I think that it works. It might not work for everybody, but it works for us. In at this stage in our lives, I totally think it does. We're generally always together, and we generally, it seems to me at the moment, always kind of booked on the same things. Mm-hmm. So, we love spending time together, and if we're not together, it feels kind of weird. So it just works for us, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd say like the weekends that we do different shows or something like that, I just try to view it as like, well, we've had the whole week together. And so the weekend is like our time where people that have normal jobs, it would be like their midweek, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, the weekend is our jobs. So that's when we're apart if we have to be apart. But a lot of times, like you said, we're together anyway. So
okay, that makes total sense. I gotta ask, did y'all meet in wrestling? Did y'all meet at a show, or how did y'all meet?
Yeah, we met through wrestling because his best friend is Nick Aldis, and obviously I was Nick's insurance policy.
Right.
And I had seen Thom before, and so I told Nick that I thought he was hot. So Nick put in a good word for me, I think. And then we met at a show at the pop-up event in Clarksville, Tennessee, in 2019, January 4th.
I think I'd been there for a day or something, because I'd moved back from the UK back to America and to Clarksville to help Crimson run his wrestling school. And I think it was like the second day we met, or the first day or something.
And I got my claws in him.
Nice. Very nice. Well, you look like a very happy couple. Thom, I mentioned at the top of the interview, 20 plus years in wrestling, spent time in
did you not see me do this? Hey, brother.
No, well, okay. You don't look that old. Let's put it that way. But still, it's been you have considerable time in the business. Spent time with TNA, Impact Wrestling, of course, now with the NWA. Just reflect on your time in the business, what you're most proud of.
Man, I don't know. I'm proud of a lot of things. I mean, just moving to America was a big thing. Like, I remember being a kid, I grew up on The Simpsons, and everything was American. I grew up watching and liking music, things like that, especially the wrestling. And so just being able, I remember having dreams when I was a kid of like, when I finally got to America, I'd like kneel down on the floor and kiss the ground. I just always wanted to be an American. So just even that was like a big deal. And when I sort of look back throughout my career, 20 years, like you said, in wrestling, I've been very blessed and very lucky, and been given a lot of opportunities. And sometimes I have to take a step back and just appreciate it sometimes, and realize that if you'd have told the 12-year-old me all these things that have happened to me, the good things, I'd have been blown away. Everything to me, when I really take a step back, is a blessing and super cool. If I look at it from the 12-year-old, Tom's eyes, obviously the older you get, the more jiggy you get with everything. But you know, I don't know. So everything really, and the fact that I'm still kind of healthy and I'm still doing it, and you know, I met my wife through it, and you know, that's in fact that's the best one. Meeting my wife. There you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you were in the UK, what was that? What was that first exposure to wrestling? What did you watch? Was it WWE or was it a talk about that for a moment?
I all that kind of stuff, like World of Sport things and other sorts of wrestling, I sort of figured out once I decided I was going to become a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually, weirdly enough, my grandma and granddad had, like, I think it was WrestleMania 8 on the recorded VHS. And it was Sid versus Hogan. I think whatever WrestleMania that is, I think it's 8. And there's no reason why they should have had that in the house. They both hated pro wrestling, especially my granddad. But for some reason, it was in the house. So I was seeing that, and then but this was been around 90, I don't know, 97, 98 or something like that when I watched that. It was when a friend of mine gave me the tape of the 98 Hell in a Cell. Right. And when I watched that and knew that you could get paid to be that daft, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Camille, you're about to reach 18 months as the NWA Women's World Champion. Reflect on that reign, and what are you most proud of being the Women's World Champion for so long?
The thing that I would say I'm the most proud of is just because when I first got the title from Serena Deeb, I'd only had 4 maybe matches in the NWA, and so it really kind of started my wrestling career at that point. I had done the indies a couple years prior, but only for like 6 months, and then stopped for a while. So I was just really growing and learning in front of everyone and kind of learning on the spot. And obviously when I first got the title, I was very nervous, and to see like, okay, so I'm gonna have to go from having squash matches to these championship matches with everybody. And I think that I've really taken that ball and ran with it and proven a lot of people wrong and made fans out of a lot of people, and also proven to people that the NWA Women's Championship is worth something. And I think that I've made it worth something by holding it for so long and having so many great contenders. I mean, Melina, Taya Valkyrie, people like that. It's just, I've been very, very lucky to face the people that I had so far in this reign.
Well, and it has such a great history, just like the World's Heavyweight Championship has such a great history. You go all the way back to the Mildred Burks, Susan Tex Green, who I got to meet several years ago. Folks like that held that title with pride and everything. Let me ask you, so when you get off the road, you come home from a wrestling show, whether it's NWA somewhere else, and you want to take a day and just not wrestling. There's nothing about wrestling. What is it that you two do to kind of step back and just, take your mind off of it for a bit?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, it's not very healthy.
Yeah, we just go and get lots of food and binge eat and lay in bed all day and watch murder documentaries.
Yeah, it's quite miserable.
All right.
I mean, it's not, but it is. That's what we do.
Yeah,
and that's as common as I could see that. Camille, you tweeted on Monday that you plan to be in Los Angeles for WrestleMania weekend, and you want all comers. You're looking at, you want anybody to step up. Who's that dream opponent that you haven't had yet?
Dream opponent. I mean, there's lots of different dream opponents for different reasons. Are you talking about, do they need to be a free agent?
Just give me someone on that weekend you would love to step in the ring with.
Let's go with Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay. Very
good. I've faced her before for XPW. It's just a kind of a quick little match, and I would love to go at it again with her. I think that she's someone that's very respected in the wrestling industry, and so to be able to retain my title against someone like that would be very special for me.
Absolutely. Former Impact Knockouts World Champion and AAA Reina de Reinas champion as well. So that'd be a fantastic match. I really do think. I mentioned you've got the first ever live edition of NWA Power coming up next week in Knoxville. And you're in a mixed tag, both of you, against Psycho Love, Fodder and Angelina Love. To either of you, give me, your thoughts on this match as you get closer to Knoxville.
I respect Angelina as a wrestler 100%. I think that Fodder is very lucky that he is now linked up with Angelina, because now he's getting this opportunity already in his very early stages at NWA to get in the ring with Thom and myself. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So he should be very thankful to Angelina for that one. And I just think that when it comes to chemistry and everything like that, they're very new on the scene. They're a very new couple. Okay. We got some years in. So I think that the chemistry and everything like that, I think that we have the upper hand when it comes to all that.
It might work out the same, I feel like me and Angel have been doing it forever, and Fodder and you a little bit less. So I don't know.
I don't know. Like you said, I've been the champion for almost 600 days. So I think I have a little bit of an idea what I'm doing.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about breaking kayfabe. I think it's gonna be fun.
Well, yeah, and that's an interesting in that you meant what you just mentioned. Where Thom, you and Angelina Love are probably the more experienced of each couple. So that should be a fantastic match. Again, that is going to be the first ever live edition of NWA Power, Tuesday, January 31st, coming to us from the Knoxville Convention Center, Knoxville, Tennessee. If you plan to be in the Knoxville area, nwatix.com to get your tickets. Before I let you go, just Camille, I wanted to ask you, you played college softball here in Austin. Of course, we got a pretty good team over at the University of Texas, but you were a star in college softball. Is there something from your playing days on the diamond that you carry with you to the ring?
To the ring, all I would say is kind of walking out, if you will. You have to have that same confidence that you had walking up to bat. You know what I mean? You can't go up to bat scared, no matter what kind of game it is, whether you're playing a smaller school or one of the bigger and better schools. You're still walking up to bat the exact same. So I would compare that to the same. Like, no matter what the matchup is, no matter where it is, I'm walking out the same confidence.
Okay, and that makes total sense. That walk up to the home plate, always important. Guys, I'm so grateful to you for giving me this time. Starting with you, Thom, I want you both promote yourself. Tell everybody how they can find out, follow you on socials, any type of merch shops. Just start with you, Thom.
I need to be better at t-shirts and all that. I don't have nothing. It's also I don't want to carry it around, and you've got to buy so many different sizes. So I need to figure that out at some point. But other than that, it's just my Twitter and Instagram is Thomas_Latimer_ on both. And then I have a Facebook page, but I couldn't tell you what it is. But yeah, it's there somewhere.
And Camille?
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm at Camille with a K _brick. And then on Instagram, I'm at Camille Brickhouse. And on Facebook, I'm at Camille /Kaylee Farmer. And that's where you can find me and figure out what shows are happening, what's going on in our regular lives, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up this year. So fingers crossed. It's wrestling. So until it happens, you don't believe it and you don't buy into it. But fingers crossed, touch wood, it'll be a good year.
Absolutely. Camille, the NWA Women's World Champion. Thom Latimer, one of the big stars in the NWA. You two, I'm so grateful for the time. All the best to you. All the best to you in 2023. Looking forward to a great match next week in Knoxville. And have a great time and safe travels.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Time.